Oh no, not again. Just when SpaceX seemed to be building momentum, another Raptor engine failure has hit. This isn't just a small hiccup, it's a serious red flag. After already facing issues in Flight 7 and Flight 8, now Raptor 2 has failed yet again. And this time, it happened during a critical static fire test for Flight 9. No rocket explosion, thankfully. But the incident was serious enough to immediately delay the next launch. So what exactly went wrong? And is it finally time for SpaceX to abandon Raptor 2 and go all in on Raptor 3? Let's break it down. SpaceX has made impressive strides with Starship, but Raptor 2 just keeps holding them back. This latest failure, while not catastrophic, is a strong reminder that engine reliability still isn't where it needs to be. The only silver lining? This malfunction happened on the ground, not in flight. If it had occurred in the sky, we'd be looking at the third engine failure in a row since Flight 7. That's a trend SpaceX cannot afford to continue. Here's what happened. In the early morning hours of April 29th, Starship S-35 was rolled out of Mega Bay 2 and taken to the Massey test site. This rollout came just 2 weeks after its Raptor engines had been delivered and installed, an important signal that the vehicle was ready to begin pre-flight testing for the highly anticipated Flight 9. That same day, S-35 successfully completed a cryogenic proof test, a crucial step that checks whether its fuel tanks and plumbing systems can handle the ultra-cold conditions of flight. Then came the real action. On the night of April 30th, SpaceX fired up S-35 for its first static fire test. In the darkness, a single Raptor engine lit up the sky with a brief plume of fire. It wasn't full power yet. The test used partial fueling with a bit of methane and less than a third of the liquid oxygen tank filled. The low flame confirmed that just one engine had been ignited. SpaceX later confirmed this test was meant to be low-scale, and by all appearances, it went smoothly. No explosions. No visible damage. No issues. Or so it seemed. Because just 24 hours later, everything changed. At around 9 p.m. on May 1st, SpaceX initiated a much more aggressive static fire test, this time involving all 6 Raptor engines. To start it off by the book. All 6 Raptors ignited together, their flames roaring beneath the vehicle like dragons waking up. But suddenly things went sideways. A thick plume of smoke erupted from behind the ship. Moments later, bright flames burst underneath the vehicle, and the usual white vapor turned orange, exploding more than 300 feet into the air. The test pad lit up like a war zone. Flames curled around the rocket's legs. Sparks and embers flew everywhere. For a moment, it looked like the whole vehicle was going up in flames. The blaze lasted around 25 seconds, long enough to send shockwaves through the engineering team. And the aftermath confirmed the worst fears. Something had definitely gone wrong. One of the vacuum-optimized Raptor engines, specifically engine E5, appeared to have exploded mid-test. This wasn't just speculation. Observers noted similarities with what happened during Flight 8, an engine blast followed by a fuel leak, and then a massive fireball as the leaked propellant ignited. It was a déjà vu moment SpaceX didn't want. Fortunately, things weren't as catastrophic as they looked. The good news? The ship itself remained mostly intact. The damage was confined primarily to the one affected Raptor vacuum engine. Still, any kind of engine failure like this is a big deal, especially after S-35 had already passed both a cryo test and a successful single-engine static fire. There were no in-flight vibrations. No pressure from launch. So the cause must lie somewhere else. Possibly a deeper design flaw or maybe an undetected hardware issue. As always, SpaceX is moving fast. Just 3 days later, on May 4th, a truck carrying a replacement Raptor engine arrived at Starbase. Ship 35 is currently undergoing repairs, with engineers replacing the damaged engine and performing thorough inspections to rule out any hidden issues. A second static fire test is expected once the replacement is complete. And surprisingly, a late May launch is still on the table. But that may be optimistic. It's important to note, Raptor explosions, especially during ground tests, are incredibly rare. And this wasn't a situation where something new was being tested. This was a routine static fire using engines that had already been installed and inspected. So for an explosion to happen at this stage is concerning. After the incident, Ship 35 was quickly rolled back to Mega Bay 2 for a full inspection. Engineers are now meticulously checking every inch of the vehicle, especially the remaining engines, the heat shield, and the propellant tanks. Any signs of stress, burn damage, or cracking will be addressed. Once all repairs are done, the next steps will be installing the flight termination system and the mission payload. These processes aren't rushed. SpaceX has strict verification protocols for each stage, before, during, and after installation. Every sensor, every valve, every wire is rechecked to ensure the vehicle is in peak condition before it's integrated onto the launch pad. So, what does this mean for Flight 9? Well, initially the launch was scheduled for the third week of May. But now, due to the explosion and repair work, a delay is inevitable. The earliest we might see a launch is late May, but realistically it could slip into early June. That means a 3-month gap since the last flight, much longer than SpaceX has been aiming for in recent months. It's a slowdown for sure, but a necessary one. Because at the end of the day, safety is everything. One more serious failure during flight could trigger another FAA investigation, and that would delay the entire Starship program by months. Taking a few extra weeks to replace the engine, retest the system, and ensure everything is flight ready? That's a small price to pay. Once the damaged RVAC Raptor is replaced, the vehicle will undergo a full inspection to confirm that everything is functioning properly. But that's just the beginning. SpaceX will need to run through yet another round of rigorous cryogenic testing and static fire trials. These aren't just routine, they're essential to ensure no lingering issues remain before the next flight attempt. Only after passing these safety hurdles will Ship 35 head back to Mega Bay 2, where it will be prepped for payload integration. That means loading up Starlink satellites into the payload zone dispenser and adding some simul-aided cargo mass for balance and performance assessment. But none of this happens quickly. Each of these steps takes days, sometimes weeks, especially when the team wants to be absolutely sure there are no hidden problems. So, naturally, we're looking at a delay, possibly several weeks, before Flight 9 is ready for another launch attempt. This isn't just a bump in the road, it's a pause that could impact the broader Starship launch schedule. With every delay, the pressure grows. SpaceX set a bold target, 25 launches for the year. And with technical hiccups stacking up, hitting that number is becoming more and more challenging. Everyone watching wants progress and they want it fast. But no one wants a rushed launch that ends in failure. A clean, successful Flight 9 would do more than just get Starship back in the air, it would rebuild confidence. It would show that the upgraded hardware, the new systems, and the engineering fixes are all paying off. That kind of success would move SpaceX one step closer to the ultimate goals: orbital refueling, lunar landings, and deep space missions. More than ever, the team needs time, trust, and support from the public. Let's hope the delays are short-lived and we still see Flight 9 lift off sometime this month. Now, what do you think? Will Flight 9 get off the ground in May? Or will June be a more realistic target? Drop your predictions in the comments. I'd love to hear what you're thinking. At first glance, it might look like SpaceX has everything under control. But behind the scenes, this Raptor engine explosion has shaken things up. It's not just a test that failed, it's a signal that some core systems still need improvement. Whether the failure came from a methane leak, a liquid oxygen fault, or an ignition issue, the team now has to examine every piece of the puzzle again. This incident forces a hard re-evaluation of several critical systems. It's not the first time something like this has happened. If you remember Flight 7 and 8, you'll recall similar problems: liquid oxygen leaks, engine bay fires, uncontrolled ignitions. SpaceX responded with solutions like better fire suppression systems and improved venting protocols. But this latest failure shows that more work is needed. The vehicle may be maturing, but it isn't perfect. This moment is a stark reminder that Starship is still in development, and cutting-edge technology always comes with growing pains. You can't rush excellence. So what's next? SpaceX has to double down on managing cryogenic fuel stability, improving Raptor engine durability, and refining ignition controls. These systems need to work flawlessly in extreme conditions, because Starship doesn't have room for guesswork or uncertainty. Even though the company proudly follows a fail fast, learn fast approach, every failure carries a cost. These aren't just setbacks in theory, they cause real delays, hardware loss, and ballooning expenses. The Starship program has already cost billions, and if these kinds of failures keep recurring, it could lead to even more expensive redesigns and time-consuming engineering overhauls. For Elon Musk, though, this isn't about money. For him, the most precious resource is time. Every delay pushes back Starship's long-term milestones, deploying full Starlink constellations, testing orbital fuel transfers, and ultimately landing humans on the moon for NASA's Artemis program. Each missed launch window shifts the timeline further out. But sometimes setbacks also open doors. On May 2nd, the White House's Office of Management and Budget released a new budget proposal for fiscal year 2026, and it could be a game-changer. The plan suggests retiring NASA's traditional heavy lift systems like the Space Launch System and Orion capsule after Artemis 3. This proposal would clear the path for commercial systems, especially Starship, to become the backbone of future lunar missions, including Artemis 4 and 5. And that's not all. The budget outlines over $7 billion dedicated to lunar exploration and an additional $1 billion earmarked for Mars-focused programs. The message is clear. The United States wants to outpace China in the space race, and they're putting real money behind that ambition. And guess what? These goals line up perfectly with the very purpose of Starship: to push humanity beyond Earth, to the Moon and eventually Mars. This new funding direction could supercharge SpaceX's momentum. This budget shift could also help accelerate the development and production of Raptor 3, SpaceX's next-gen engine. Designed to be simpler, cheaper, and far more powerful than its predecessor, Raptor 3 is now central to Starship's future success. It's targeting an incredible 280 tons of thrust, with future versions pushing to 330 tons. And here's the kicker: it doesn't even need a heat shield. That alone cuts down on complexity and weight. With NASA possibly backing Starship as the go-to system after Artemis 3, SpaceX could see a wave of fresh investment to scale up engine production and testing. Musk himself revealed some surprising numbers. Raptor 3 has nearly twice the thrust and significantly more reliability than Raptor 1, all while costing about 4 times less to manufacture. That's not just an engineering win, that's a manufacturing revolution. It's exactly what SpaceX needs to lower the cost of access to space. When you combine that with the potential end of SLS and Orion, it becomes clear that Raptor 3 will be more than just a technical upgrade. It could be the engine that launches a new era of space travel. And if the funding and political support fall into place, we might see Starship moving at record speed. The Trump administration has also signaled strong support for commercial space, which might mean fewer regulatory roadblocks for SpaceX, especially from the FAA. That could pave the way for more frequent Starship launches later this year, allowing engineers to collect real-world performance data and fine-tune Raptor 3 with each flight. With more flights, the feedback loop tightens and improvements roll out faster. Don't be surprised if we see a full-scale Raptor 3 flight test before the end of the year. SpaceX is already known for moving quickly, but with the right support they could move even faster. So there you have it. While this latest Raptor failure is a setback, it might also be a turning point. SpaceX has the talent, the tech, and now, potentially, the political and financial backing to take Starship to the next level. The coming months will be critical. Whether it's getting Flight 9 off the ground, ramping up Raptor 3, or cementing Starship's role in Artemis 4 and beyond, this is the moment that could define the future of human space exploration. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned and I'll see you in the next one.